The X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. We're coming to you live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to give us a call, our toll-free number is 1-877-528-8255. That's toll-free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii at 1-877-528-8255. My email address is xzone@talkstarradio.com. On MSN Messenger, talkstarradio@hotmail.com, and our websites, www.xzoneradio.com and www.xzonetv.com. My guest this hour is Douglas James Cottrell. He's a Canadian publisher who has since 1974 developed an incredible ability of deep meditation clairvoyance. Now, where he has the ability to intuitively see a person's health condition anywhere in the world is what we're talking about. He has for 35 years demonstrated this profound ability with clients all over the world and from all walks of life. He has explored the spiritual world and mastered many of other intuitive skills to a great degree. He currently gives lectures or workshops to organizations and small groups alike on intuitive development. In addition, from time to time, Douglas and his wife Karen, of over 40 years now, hold public spiritual gatherings called Miracle Transformation Events for body, mind, and spirit. His deep trance meditation style is often compared to that of Ross Peterson, who was his teacher, and that of the great U.S. seer Edgar Cayce. Many testimonials are listed on his website. He is often referred to as the real deal. In 2003, Douglas dictated a book from the trance state, which was published the following year as Secrets of Life. He has been variously called a mystic, seer, prophet, and one of the most powerful intuitives of our time, and the man with X-ray eyes. Joining me now from London, Ontario, is Douglas James Cottrell. And Douglas, welcome back to the X Zone. How are you, my good friend?
I am fine. It's always a pleasure to be on your fantastic show.
Thanks, partner. How is the family doing?
Everybody's doing well. We're having a pretty good time here. Our grandson was over today, and watching him sprout up is amazing. Takes you back when our sons were little and our daughter. But it's just a wonderful thing to be a grandfather. I tried to put it off for as long as I possibly could, but now I'm hooked.
Oh, heavens. Douglas, these are very trying times. We have the economic crisis. We have the possibility of war in the Middle East. We are now looking at Russia raising its paws again. The big bear is coming back to life. We have Korea that is just taunting people with the launches of their rockets. What is going on in this world?
Well, Rob, not to go back too far, but on your show some time ago, a year or two or three ago, we talked about possibilities that are happening these days. And as such, in the twinkle of an eye, so to speak, the economic situation of the world has changed. It will never be the same again. More of the countries in the world are now coming back to the Canadian way of doing banking. Mm-hmm. And we can thank Mr. Cottrell for stopping the banks in Canada going the U.S. route. He actually saved the Canadian banking system and probably the world, and is one of the most unsung heroes in that regard that I know of. Mm-hmm. The conditions in the world are indeed, this is a time of chaos, or as I've often referred to as a teaching time or testing time. situation in the world is indeed, we're going through this, as I've recently come up with, we're the 2012 generation, and we've talked about the effects of 2012 on your show before.
Yeah, let's talk more about them when we come back from this 2-minute commercial break. Douglas James Cottrell is our very special guest, X-Zone Nation. If you'd like to give us a call and speak to the man with X-ray eyes, lines are now open at 1-877-528-8255. That's toll-free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii at 1-877-528-8255. Douglas James Cottrell and I will be back on the other side of this 2-minute commercial break as we continue live and around the world right here from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada on the Talkstar Radio Network. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Hi everyone, Rob McConnell here, and I wanted to spend a moment on internet streaming. Everybody has heard about internet streaming, but not many know much about it. Did you know the internet streams just about everything?
Movies,
From new releases to old classics.
TV shows,
Almost every show, every episode, and much more. But the question has always been, how do you do it? Well now, thanks to the folks at 123 Ready TV, I have the answer for you. They have developed a simple program app, 123 Ready TV, that you install on your Windows PC, Android smartphone, or Android tablet that can have you streaming like a pro in less than 5 minutes. You truly won't believe how much is available or how easy it is to do until you try. And for a one-time cost of only $19.99, this product is a real winner. To learn more about 123 Ready TV, visit our website at www.xzbn.net. www.douglasjamescottrell.com is the name of Doug's website. And Douglas, always great having you here with us on the X-Zone. We were talking about 2012 before we went into that commercial break, and a lot of people are talking about it, Doug. There are those who are saying it's going to be the end of the world. There are those who are saying it's the book of Revelations being played through. And there are those who say it's the beginning of a new age of spirituality and a new age of knowledge.
Well, in the sessions I've done on this, we have CDs that are available with Earth Changes and the coming 2012 series. We're actually doing a series of these events. I have been saying now for a year or two that it is not the end of the world. This is not Armageddon. It's not the end times, but it is the end of an age. And as one comes up to the end of an age, naturally there's a winding down and things change. But they also prepare for the new age in which there is a whole new beginning. Again, if we look at the banking system, we look at the security systems in the world, the travel habits, the amount of information that is out there on the Internet is absolutely amazing. This is the old biblical dream of you might recall Pharaoh having a dream of 7 fat cows and 7 thin cows, and that dream being interpreted to 7 wonderful years and then 7 lean years following.
Right, yes.
We're in that sort of situation right now where there are wonderful, marvelous things happening in the world on one hand, and on the other hand, there is a letting go and a release. Certainly the combatants in the world are lessening, although, as you mentioned, Korea is rattling its saber.
Yeah.
I think this is the end of North Korea. As soon as the leadership in Korea changes in North Korea, North and South Korea will amend their differences and become one country again. The Chinese, as I predicted years ago, are now coming forth and being a world power. They're actually lending money to America. One of the sessions that I said about the 2012 was that the American dollar would be disjointed from some nations. Look for one of them in the Middle East first, and that has already happened. And other countries, including China and Russia and different countries, are starting to separate their currencies from the U.S. buck. It is the end of the. We're looking at the point of change where America is now slipping from a world power, from the number one power in the world, to now becoming less than that. And other nations, it's their turn, if you will. I had a dream or vision some time ago, and I think we talked about it on your show, in which I saw that Italy will become will be destined. I think the actual thing was, I'll tell ye, or Italy is destined to rule the world. So prophecies or long-term situations like that will show a shift away from North America.
So what we're seeing is a return to the old times, because in the early times, Italy did rule the world under the Roman Empire.
It did, and there's the Ottoman Empire. There was the first emperor in China. Every nation seems to have its kick at the can, becoming the leader. But again, out of Italy will come the world dominance or world leadership, and I'm not quite sure why that will happen. I have had visions, or we're told that the core of the Earth is rotating at a different speed, a slower speed than the crust. Of course, Edgar Cayce and other people, Ross Peterson, have talked about a pole shift or the Earth flipping, which it has done apparently in the past. Noah and the Great Flood, for instance, at that time. So this is a time of great upheaval in the world. With the polar caps melting, it seems reasonable that the Earth might flip on its axis, and that might bring Italy into a prominence. And, of course, other parts of the world would be perhaps in disasters for weather and other conditions. But I think at this point in time, it's to look at not with fear. I had a client tell me that her nephew was thinking of committing suicide.
Oh, God.
Because he thought that why live past 2012? I'm here to say the good news is that we have to get rid of all the bad things that are in the world so that the good things can come in. The banking system is now changed where those thieves and robbers and manipulators, the middlemen, will probably be regulated, hopefully over-regulated even, in which the disasters of world, if you will, the domino effect, world disaster, monetary crisis will not happen. But we have to look at the commodities, the weather, and what I really think is coming up is Mother Earth itself. That's the next crisis to meet. But again, if we're in this time of change, what are we looking to change towards? We're looking to change towards one of cooperation, one to have compassion for each other. That's where I think 2012 is changing. The politics will change. The monetary world currencies will change. There's all kinds of conspiracies about the Euro dollar coming out, which is the North American new currency between Canada, Mexico, and America. The euro is getting strong. Certainly, I think we're going to see, I'll make a prediction here, that the Hong Kong dollar is going to become strong, or the Eastern currencies will become much stronger in the near future. Gold, I said, will be $1,000 to $1,150. Well, it's hit $1,000. It's on its way up to $1,150, perhaps more. People will not be taking the plane so much. They'll turn to train travel more than any other travel, and I'm not sure why. I've seen these things in the past, but the one thing that's constantly coming through is that there are improvements at the subatomic or the microscopic worlds, which I think means that we'll finally conquer the common cold and cancer alike.
That is good news, Doug. We've got Dennis who wants to join us. Dennis, welcome to the X Zone. And what is your question for Douglas?
Yeah, hello, Rob. I hope you had a nice sunny day in Windsor as we had in Ottawa today.
Oh, we had a great day here in Hamilton. It was beautiful. And
Hamilton, I mean, yeah. In London as well.
Yeah, but unfortunately, you know what? Darn it.
Yeah,
it's gone for today, but we're looking at Saturday here in Hamilton, 65 degrees, tomorrow 62 degrees, so looks like summer's on its way.
Yeah, but that would sound cold for those people who are listening to you from down southern United States.
That is so true. That is so true.
I got a question for Douglas. I got only one question. I'm just curious as to what the... hello, Douglas, are you there?
I am.
Yep. I'm just curious to know what the reading had to say about UFOs and these abductions and if there's any government conspiracy or anything. So that's my question for you.
Okay. Well, in the past, we've talked about UFOs as sort of the Atlantean, and I'm not trying to sound too far-fetched here, but the Atlantean culture at the time was able to move across time, and that some of these UFOs that we're seeing are actually reflections of those beings in the past.
No, hello, thanks,
Are we
Mel.
there still? I had a little funny noise.
Yeah, so did I.
I don't have any conspiracy theories about the governments being involved with body snatching and things like that. And I'm not a UFOologist or a believer in that regard, but the readings have addressed it to say that there are in the universe. I think it said with the billions and billions of planets and solar systems, it is foolish to think that we're not visited by other aliens or beings. So as far as a conspiracy of cooperation with the government, we haven't really addressed that, but we have, in the readings, have said that there is such a process of visitation and has been for a long, long time on the Earth.
All right, thanks very much for calling, Dennis. When you're going into your deep trance, are you finding any difference in the trances that you're going into now compared to 5-6 years ago?
Well, they're only getting better. I'm trying to not do them anymore. I've raised my prices up considerably. It is a hard thing to do, and heart rate and respiration go down. But the questions are the same. I usually get the very difficult situations for health and, of course, the urgent situations in business. My clients are Japanese businessmen, New York businessmen, stockbrokers, and all kinds of people in between. But that's a good question, Rob. The urgency in the question these days is basically how can I cope, and coincidentally, how can I mend my family situation? How can families come back together? And people are looking to move a little more. But above it all, people just want peace in their life, just peace. And they're looking for ways to economize, yes, but more exactly how to just have peace in their life where they don't have to worry so much.
So what can we do, Douglas, to have more peace in our lives?
Well, number one, get out of debt. Debt is a modern-age slavery. Number two, be prepared so that you don't have to run to the store when you need something. You should have 6 months or so of food advance. Now, that can simply be a bunch of cans and some rice and water supply. I mean, that could start it. And when you see things are on sale, buy a couple of extra cans and put them away. Through to having friendships and groups of people coming together. The one thing that I've noticed in meeting very successful people, and I have met some of the most successful and wealthy people in our country, Canada, and in the U.S., is that they have alliances with a small group, 6, 8, 10, 12 people. They'll travel together, they'll go out together, and they will confide in each other concerning certain business decisions. I'm not talking about personal and private matters now, that's something else. But they seem to, as a group, will come up with ideas. And, for instance, I noticed that they'll move their households to certain areas. Some people I know once were in Short Hills, New Jersey, and then for some reason they all seemed to move to North and South Carolina. I was surprised, but I observed what was going on. They have this group, extended family situation, and that's where the strength of having many people, many minds, comes into play. Ways and means of being more prosperous and having more money and finding deals and taking advantage of group purchases allows people to come into a situation of making money.
Doug, stand by. We've got to take our news break. www.douglasjamescottrell.com is the website. 1-877-528 8255 is our toll-free number. Douglas and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break, right here on Talkstar.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Hi everyone, Rob McConnell here, and I wanted to spend a moment on internet streaming. Everybody has heard about internet streaming, but not many know much about it. Did you know the internet streams just about everything?
Movies,
From new releases to old classics.
TV shows,
Almost every show, every episode, and much more. But the question has always been, how do you do it? Well now, thanks to the folks at 123 Ready TV, I have the answer for you. They have developed a simple program app, 123 Ready TV, that you install on your Windows PC, Android smartphone, or Android tablet that can have you streaming like a pro in less than 5 minutes. You truly won't believe how much is available or how easy it is to do until you try. And for a one-time cost of only $19.99, this product is a real winner. To learn more about 123 Ready TV, visit our website at www.xzbn.net.
www.douglasjamescottrell.com is Douglas's website. That's www.douglasjamescottrell.com. Great having you with us, Doug. Tell me, do you see anything as far as the shift in energy is concerned from fossil fuel to an alternative energy source?
Wind power and solar power will continue. The getting away from the current way atomic power is done, there will be a way to find it. Instead of the expansion in the nuclear world, there'll be a compacting or a contraction, and that will cause things to happen. And magnetic forms of energy are going to the use of magnetic power, and also the way I've seen in my mind the way waves act on metal. You can have metal moved in water with wave action that will cause electrical currents to stimulate. And I'm not quite sure what that is, but I saw it happen in a tank of water. So I think that more and more the discoveries will be on what we have in a fluid motion of air and water. But also the idea is that there will come a time when we'll have these little devices, not nuclear fusion, but we'll have fission, or I might have that backwards, in which we'll have a little block of energy in our furnace, and that'll run the whole house. Ross Peterson predicted that, and I've seen something similar to it. The idea that we, are on an age of discovery and a time of invention. Every day something amazing happens all the time. I want to finish my thought before the break, and that was that, in getting into the metaphysical and spiritual world, praying for relief and prosperity really works, and learning to meditate for guidance and to meditate on a single circumstance or problem really works. And people that are praying and are learning to meditate, seems to be that there is a huge growth or interest or thirst in spiritual development. I think is helping people get by these crisis times. these difficult times, which in fact on a spiritual level is why we're having these difficult times, to get us closer to come to God. And so it makes sense that all these inventions that are coming out would continue to be given to us, again alluding to the Pharaoh's dream of the 7 fat cows and then the 7 thin cows later. We're being prepared so that we can get through these difficult times coming up. And they will be horrific. They will be very difficult.
Worse than they are now?
Yes. Weather conditions, earthquakes. The Earth is reacting to all the things that have been happening to it. The nuclear explosions have been going on, the draining of the oil out, the way the water has been misused, the way the land has been treated. The Hopi Indians have been warning us for a long time. Native people that I've spoken to have read signs, and certainly, the prophets and the saints that have predicted these end times, and I'm talking more of the latter-day saints like Edgar Cayce and Ross Peterson and other intuitive people. They've been saying, look out, watch out, be prepared, and don't live near the coastlines. I've seen the entire west coast from Alaska down west of the Rockies disappear. We've predicted that the Switzerland will disappear. They now have that nuclear accelerator or something going on over there that's probably going to cause that. The Earth is wobbling a lot. I mean, the ice caps are melting. Pay attention to what's going on to these Earth changes, and one can get by.
What do you think our biggest problem is going to be in the future?
Water. Not having clean water. Water will be extremely expensive. It will be more valuable than gold.
Wow. It's hard to think.
I was over your way a little while ago. I'm starting to do our Miracle Transformation events in Hamilton, of all places, at the... Have you heard of this place? I never heard of it before, and I apologize. It's the Hamilton Beach Rescue Unit Hall.
Yeah, it's on the beach. It's...
I didn't know Hamilton had a beach, and I apologize. It's a beautiful place. It reminds me of California when I've been there.
Yeah, down there, it's really beautiful, and during the summertime, they have the biggest yard sale that you've ever seen.
Well, I'll probably see that. We're there once a month. We've started our Miracle Transformation events in Hamilton, and also we're back to Toronto now. And I'm starting my first Miracle Transformation event coming up on the 25th, which is a Saturday, at the Don Mills United Church in Toronto. That's at Pape and O'Connor, back almost to where I grew up, at Broadview and Gerrard. So Hamilton, we're there once a month. In Toronto, we're just starting. In London, I'm starting a study group here as well at the Central Library. And I'm doing that because there's so much interest in people coming together, wanting to know what to do about these extreme times. This is a teaching or testing time, a time that is chaotic, and the reason it is, as you go through all changes, where things change, there is a time of uncertainty, and that's where we are now. But that's why these inventions are coming through, and why we should be practical, and we should knock on those doors and open up those opportunities. You know, when I hear there's 8 or 9% unemployed, my response to that is yes, but there's 90, 91, 92% employed.
That's right. Let's look at the positive instead of always looking for the negative.
Yeah. Shut off the TV and listen to the Rob McConnell show.
There you go.
And you've got the best light you can get.
Flattery will get you everywhere.
No, you have a good show, and you always have, and I've never, ever heard you treat any of your guests without the utmost respect. And I think the viewers, or rather I'm reading the TV thing here, but the people that listen to you or watch you, I think it's a real deal.
Thank you very much.
I'm not trying to flatter you. That's a fact, and I think you're one of the most credible announcers on the air because you address the issues, and you don't mind asking those pointed questions in a nice way. And I think that just is the best way to do it.
Very much appreciated, Doug. Thank you. Now that you've got me blushing over here.
Well, your website's amazing. I've watched it over the years, and the things that you're into are a perfect demonstration. If people want to learn how to be successful, it's to go in one direction, maybe several themes, but keep on going. as Mahatma Gandhi said, do something.
Exactly.
And you're a demonstrator. What you've done over the last years with your website and the things that you've incorporated in your business is a proper way for all people to take a lesson on how to be successful. I'm just using that as an example, but it's right there, and if you will, living color.
Thank you very much, Doug.
Oh, you're welcome.
When you have your miracle, what do you call them?
We call them miracle transformation events. We changed them from miracle healing events because we had a California lawyer threatened to sue us.
Why?
Because we were incorporating on her miracle healing something.com something or other. And so, of course, that was ludicrous, but this woman was a lawyer, and, sometimes people in the metaphysical business are a little extreme. Sometimes they take medication, too. But the long and the short of it is, this woman did us a favor because it's really a transformation. People are healed physically, and we've had documented miracles, and they're on the website and the testimonials. But we have people emotionally, mentally, and spiritually changed or altered. And when we lay hands on people, you can call it Reiki, balancing, spiritual healing, whatever term, doesn't matter. It's that life force that causes people in the physical way to change. The pain goes away, and bones move. Ulcers go away, tumors go away. And then, in a lesser degree, people are relieved. And so there's this transition where they go sometimes immediately to healing. I was in Montreal last weekend, for instance, and a lady came up, a French-Canadian lady. She didn't speak English, and I didn't speak French. But the previous time I was there, we laid hands on her. And sometimes the people fall down at these events. The power is so strong that they faint, or they go unconscious for a little while. They're never hurt. And this lady had such a healing where, as she said to me through an interpreter, 90% of her arthritis in her body had gone away instantly, and she had this 10% stiffness in one leg, and she was back this time, which would be a year later, to get the other 10% fixed up, so to speak. So there's a time lag, there's a transitional situation to go through on the physical part, but also people have noticed that their attitude, their outlook changes over a period of a few days or a few weeks or months. And so the transition is a proper term, because this is using the spiritual energy, or what we call it, the life force from God Almighty, and only from God Almighty. And people go through a process, and that process is in conjunction with their soul, with our Heavenly Father, God Almighty, and with themselves in their own way.
Doug, how does the healing work physiologically? Like, I understand the spiritual aspect of it. Well,
we think, I have a lady in Rhode Island who had studied this, believes that there is some center in the brain. The thalamus and hypothalamus is a controlling center, and she was thinking it was something beyond that, and that when laying on of hands happens, everybody's heard of an aura, or what would be the light shining around people. We know that if you take hold of an electrical meter, you can actually see that we have electricity in us, and it can be registered on the meter. And somewhere in between electrical activity in our physical body and this spiritual life-giving force, and every cell in the body has a vibrational rate. Delaware did some work on that there is enough electricity, enough power in a body. My friend Dr. Grinzel told me that somebody did a study, and the amount of electricity in one human body is enough to light up a small town. And that was documented by some research. I'm not familiar with it exactly, but I'm going to say it because it was told to me from a credible source. So when we lay hands on people through the different points on the body, you can call them the ley lines or the acupuncture point places or acupressure points, those entry points in the body where energy comes in, the solar plexus or the chakras if you want to be more metaphysical as well. And that energy is transmitted through a healer, such as myself, into a person, let's call them the client or the receiver. And I believe the more people you have in the room at the time, the more draw there is on that life energy. You had a shaman healer on earlier who was talking about taking energy out of trees and rocks. And
that's right.
I believe that's true. The energy in all living things is able to be manifested, amplified, if you will, and go through a conduit, the person laying on of hands. And in all the cases we've done, and there have been hundreds and hundreds, and we've been doing this for 4 years, traveling around, as you know, we've talked about this before, that when such an occurrence happens, when someone comes up, I ask them, what do they want? And they will say, I have diabetes, or they say some other complaint. They're really focusing their mind, and they're asking God Almighty for healing in that particular area. That's on the physical side, but people have asked for emotional healing, for healing in their marriages, for healing. One man even asked for his computer to be healed, and when he got home, it worked. So, sky's the limit, but when you're dealing with God Almighty, doesn't that make sense? You know?
It sure does. It sounds like you reboot the human body.
Well, I think it's like, if on a basic level, it's like a battery that's run down a little bit needs a boost, and another powerful battery comes along and sends the electricity across the wires and boosts the other battery at the same time, lifting up its level of activity. And my goal is to have 10,000 people in one place at one time. And I think when you see charismatic healing and faith healing, irrespective of their religious background or beliefs, I think that's what's happening. More people together, having a single purpose, looking for some help in some way, that this energy goes around the room and it affects people, and in an instant it can change the cells. The cells, apparently, as I understand it, when they're ill or when they're on their way to dying, they slow down in their vibration. And when there's a little retina in every cell of the body, and so the way around it, if you could see it in a simplistic way, would be that the vibration of the cell would speed up and it would become normal again. And in an instant, bones can come together. It just speeds up the process. Tumors and things that shouldn't be in the body are eradicated and taken out of the body. Spiritual healing is just a speeding up of a natural process.
Doug, stand by, my friend. You and I have to take our final break. Exonation, www.douglasjamescottrell.com. That's douglasjamescottrell.com is Douglas's website. And visit it. It's a great site. You can learn a lot. And Douglas and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break as the X Zone continues on the Talkstar Radio Network. And still to come on tonight's show, Brian O'Day, the author of the a fast-rising book entitled High. We'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue live from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario on Talkstar.
This is the X Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Douglas, one of our listeners would like to know if there's proof of life after death. And
I have a good story for that. Yes.
Okay, great.
My daughter Sherry Ann passed away 3 years ago now.
Yes, I do.
After 38 years of being handicapped. The short version of that, I know we have some time problems here, is that Sherry passed away, and we had her cremated, and then a memorial a week or so later. And in the interval of preparing for the memorial, Sherry came back in a vision or a dream or what I would call a visitation in my sleep state or dream state. And she said to me, "You're going to forget me." And she had a big smile on her face. And I said, "No." I felt my heart was breaking.
Yeah.
She said, "Oh, yes, you will." And I went, "Oh, no, no, no." And then in a sing-song way, she said, "Oh, yes, you will," and faded away. Well, the next few days, I was asking everybody, what possibly could my deceased daughter mean by I'm going to forget her? You know, the little kid, she was just little, no way I'm going to forget her. After all, I got into the spiritual business because of her situation and trying to find a remedy. Well, to give you the short version of the story, at the memorial, we packed up. We had a wonderful memorial. There were about 500 people in the chapel, and everybody was coming back to our house, or at least half the people were. And so we collected all the flowers. We collected all the pictures of Sherry, and we tried to give directions to people. And my son and I, Doug and I, came home, leaving my two youngest children, Jason and Louise, to kind of clean up or have a last look around. And as the rest of the guests and the family, including my wife Karen, came to the house and prepared for the reception, the funeral director came over and asked my daughter and son as they were about to leave, would you take the paperwork? Here's some things to sign for the transportation of human remains. And they were a little miffed at this, but they followed through. And then as they were about to leave, he said, well, what about your sister, meaning Sherry? And they said, well, what about her? And he pointed back to the memorial, and there was her urn.
Oh, my gosh.
We had left her at the chapel and completely forgot about her. Now, there is the best case of life after death, and that's a true story. I mean, I didn't make it up, and I have lots of, even the funeral director who I spoke to at length, kind of bending his ear, can validate that. But we also have a story on our website in which a lady came for a session where her grandmother had Alzheimer's and had promised her some jewelry. And after the lady's passing, the house was cleaned out, and they couldn't find the jewelry. Cleaned out by the family, I mean to say, taken care of. So at the behest of a friend, she came and had a deep trance meditation reading with myself. And, of course, many of the family jeered at her and thought she was crazy spending money to go.
Doug, we've got about 15 seconds.
The end result was we told the lady to go down the stairs, look up in the ceiling, and find the jewelry. The lady with the family in tow went down the stairs of this house, took the paneling apart, and there was the jewelry.
Oh, my gosh.
The mother, or the grandmother, was the one in the reading was directing where this stuff was.
Douglas,
there's another proof of life after death.
Douglas, we'll have you back on in the near future, my friend. Take care of yourself. Regards to the family, and take care of yourself.
I'll be over to see you sometime soon in Hamilton. And
got it. I'd love to see you, Doug. Take care of yourself, buddy. DouglasJamesCottrell.com. Brian O'Day is up next here on the X Zone.